Come on in, everybody. We see you out there. Come on in. Come on in. Have a seat. We're going to talk funny books. It's Sunday. It's Sunday morning. It's time for the Sunday Funnies. I do need to run this banner though. Boom. No chat reading today. This program is pre-recorded. Sorry, folks, but you're still welcome to add your comments in the chat. We're going to see them anyway, as long as you're nice. Be nice in the chat. I'm pretty sure HR is going to be watching over it, and or at least somebody with a wrench will be watching the chat, making sure that you're all mind your manners. Sound like an old man.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Not quite retirement age, but I'm never going to retire anyway, so it's okay.
Truth.
It's all good.
Yep.
While us artists, we don't retire anyway. We just fall asleep at our boards.
No artist ever retired.
No.
Fade away. Yep.
Unless the only time we retire is when we expire.
God,
and then we live on through our art.
That's the idea. Yep. Here we go with the opening. My maniacal laughter. Come on in, everybody. Come on in. We know you're out there. It's Sunday. It's early morning. You've got nothing better to do than to listen to us talk about how great funny books are, and it'll be fun. Come on in. I'm your host, Randy Zimmerman. I've been in this business for a long time. Alternative and independent comics are my game. Done a lot of commercial sequential artwork. Did my own newspaper for over a decade that we circulated through our local county that I'm pretty proud of. Went through 100 issues, 10,000 copies of each issue. We've probably got more comic readers here in Genesee County per capita than anywhere else because of that paper, and I'm really proud of that. I know that the 3 comic shops in the area are still going strong, I hope. So we'll see how that is. I've done conventions. I retailed for over 10 years. Met my wife while I was retailing, and just love this business, and I love this art form. That's why I love doing this show on Sunday morning, where we can talk about the stuff that we really love. And Ted's got some stuff this morning. Glenn will probably find some stuff as we go along. I got stuff back here on the rack that we can talk about, and we're just going to have some fun. Also with me today is Mr. Glenn Fleming. Glenn, introduce yourself.
First things first. Happy birthday, Mr. Zimmerman.
Well, thank you.
I'll celebrate that with a nice glass of Southeastern Australian Merlot.
So it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
Right.
Oh. Well, it's 3 in the afternoon here. Anyway, my CV is so long it would take 15 hours. So I'll just say this. I'm a writer, artist, and publisher. My latest offering is relevant to this program, which is my visits to Jack Kirby in 1988 and 1991. And also, with that, if you can get this from me, is a DVD of me talking to the man himself in his studio, which I think is quite unique and, well, I'd say a must thing for Kirby fans, if not comic fans. Mm-hmm. I also created and published this little guy, Hatch. This is the first book, which is on Amazon right now, and I'm putting together the second one that should be out soon. And I also produced this magazine with this guy down here, Comics Unlimited, and it's a 100-page quarterly magazine about interviews and comics and all artwork and all that kind of thing. And number 11 will be on sale shortly, and you can get that through Amazon.
As soon as I get an article to you.
As soon as you get the article, it'll be finished.
Always the last
Wait,
one.
no, not quite. I have to get mine too. But
Zimmerman is Latin for last.
I thought it was German for woodworker.
Yeah.
Well, you're probably right.
Yeah. Also joining us today, I think for the second time, right? You've been
Yes.
on Sunday Funnies before.
Yep, absolutely.
Mr. Ted Davies. Ted, introduce yourself.
Best show on Sunday. My name's Ted Davies. Ted Davies Artistry is the YouTube channel that I've created, and we do a lot of different things there, as well as publish. I'm best known for my book Retrieve and Grim 101 book series. And we're here to celebrate your birthday and to talk about comics. Learn a few things too, hopefully. I'm going to learn a few things. So
It'll be fun.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. Thanks
Great.
for the invite. And I can't wait to come
Always.
get my spinner rack. So just let me know when I can come get it. So,
Yeah, it'll be a long, long time.
I'll just have the comics in it.
That thing might as well be dipped in
the
gold because they cost a fortune. So, all right.
They do now, yes.
Yes.
Yep. And they're ever climbing because there's so many, there's so few of them on the market.
Yes.
And fewer all the time because as soon as they go up, they're gone.
Sure.
How long have you had that one, Randy?
Probably about 4 or 5 years. I got this from a retailer that sets up at my shows here in Flint. And I was at, he called me one day and says, "Hey, Randy, I got a spinner rack. Do you?" And that's as far as he got. And I said, "How much you need for it?" And he brought it to the show. That show, I stuck it out in front so that everybody can see it. And I put it in. I put a bunch of the door prize books in it. And so when we pulled a name out of the canister for once an hour, we pull out a name, and whoever's name came up, it's like take 3 books off the rack. So that these kids got to go through, even though they probably never experienced before, got to turn the rack, listen to the squeak. It's got that squeak.
It's got a squeak, hasn't it? Yeah, it's got a squeak.
Oh yeah, you got.
It's missing the bottom O bearing ring anyway, so it's it doesn't just have that squeak. It's got that squeak. It squeaks really loud.
I think I told you before. We obviously all the news agencies have one of those spinner racks, and I went into my local news agent one day when I was about 16. No, it'd be about 14, and it had Fantastic Four. I think it's 56 where the surfers blasting Ben. I think it's 56, and I didn't have any money, and I panicked. So what I did was naively put it to the back of the,
That's at the FF that we showed here at the. Oh no, it's that one right there. Yeah,
that one. 55.
But that's still great memory though. 56, 55. Gosh, that's fantastic.
And I put it so that the spinner rack was like yours is there, full of comics. So I put it naively to the back so nobody would see it. And then about 4 days later, when I got my spending money, my allowance, I ran to the shop and it was still there, and I bought it. I thought, there's no way that people aren't going to find this. But I just put it to the back, and obviously nobody even probably looked at the spinner rack. But anyway, spinner racks, they're good.
I was up north at Houghton Lake with the parents. The parents used to take us on vacations 1 week at a time. This was after they allowed me to buy superhero comics.
Right.
And there is a convenience store on the other side of a chain link fence that had, you can tell the people in the park had dug out a little hole underneath it so that they could get to the convenience store. So I crawled under there into the convenience store and found a copy of Shadow number 6.
Wow.
William Kaluta, beautiful artwork. The Shadow.
Wow.
Had to buy it.
Awesome.
The Night of the Ninja.
Oh, awesome.
It's a story I still remember to this day. Most of the layouts I still have in my head because I was up there for a week, so I was able to just absorb the entire book, and then I kept it. So I've got the same copy now. Probably, I'm not sure if I have it in that rack or not. Probably not. But I just ran across it the other day. I was looking through a stack of books, going, "Hey, all those Alan Moore, John Toddleben, Steve Bissett's Swamp Things. Maybe I should put those with boards and bags one of these years." Yeah.
They're time machines, man. Take it right back to that summer or wherever when you were up there. It's crazy.
Remember being up in the Upper Peninsula at a convenience store, spiral rack like this. The convenience store there it was literally a convenience store, ice cream bin and all of that. Way in the back, just like what Glenn was talking about, on one of the bottom racks was a copy of Silver Surfer. I think it was 18. It was the only Silver Surfer run that Kirby did.
Yeah.
And it was my introduction to the Inhumans.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, holy, what? Because I knew who Silver Surfer was. I'd seen all these other characters before. And I'm a guy who likes the oddball superhero anyway.
Sure.
Here's all of these characters that are just, I'm sitting there reading. And at that point in my youth, I couldn't buy superhero books, but I sure sat there on that wooden floor and read that book.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Remember that like it was yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the Inhumans origin of in the back of Thor when they dropped Tales of Asgard, and only years later it was revealed that it was actually going to be its own magazine, wasn't it? But they didn't put it out, and so Jack had done all this artwork, so they just changed it a little, put it into 5 pages, and dropped Asgard and put that in the back of it, because it was a bit of a jolt seeing Jack Thor with Vince Coletta inks and maybe Bill Everett later, and then all of a sudden we have this beautiful Kirby Sinnott stuff again in the back of it, and nothing to do with Asgard or Thor or whatever.
Really?
You know,
they took a few issues of that and split it in half and stuck it in Amazing Adventures opposite of Black Widow for a few issues.
Right.
Also, I think that didn't last very long.
But that doesn't show you what Kirby was doing and the fact that he must have produced? I mean, how many tales of Origin of the Inhumans were there in Thor? Was it 5 or 6?
At
Probably.
And
least.
then there was
I
that
couldn't
stuff.
tell you.
Then there was that stuff in Amazing. So he must have done a good 30 pages of it.
Crazy. That's crazy.
And that's just apart from everything else, you know, as we always say.
Just three or 4 or 5 issues, I think, had Black Widow in it. I'm trying to think of what replaced it, but wasn't the Beast. Was it the Beast? It might have been the Beast. Replaced it. Then that's when they turned the Beast gray and then blue, and had him bestial looking. And then they there's probably something in between that too. Now that I think about it, there's a bit of a time lapse there. I'd have to look, but I know that run ended with Killraven, War of the Worlds. So that also has a special place in my heart. Don McGregor.
Wasn't the first Inhumans in that Amazing Adventures? Didn't they fight the Mandarin?
Might have.
And he had that hand that was so wrong the way it was drawn.
Yes.
But with the different with the
right.
Inhumans in the each ring. Yeah.
But it was brilliant the way it was, and I always remember it was Chickstone inks on it, and I've always loved Chickstone inks on the Fantastic Four. Second only to Joe Sinnott, I think, on the Fantastic Four. But it was just this hand that Jack had drawn, and we all knew the exaggeration that Jack did. But this hand was so wrong, because I think it was one of them when he does a funny thumb, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And it was just right. And I remember thinking,
it's like
wow,
on top of the hand. Yeah. It's weird.
How incredible is that hand? Even at 14 or 15 or whatever it was, I knew it was wrong, but it was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Beware the Inhumans.
Yep.
Let me show you what that looked like. Number 1. Right there. Oops, I probably have to enlarge it. That's silly StreamYard. Boom. There we go.
Have you got the splash page? Well, that's the one, yeah.
I will look.
Is that Gene Colan, that Black Widow?
I can almost... No, that looks like John Buscema or John Romita, actually. Looks like he did that. Because look at that body.
Yeah.
Those 2 figures here along the bottom, and the way that Black Widow looks there. That's definitely not Gene Colan. I would say that's John Romita.
Right. I wonder how it works with these double covers like this. I wonder if like, obviously that Inhumans was a Kirby, and I wonder if he sent that in with just the half drawn on the actual page, and that the other guy would get the actual page, or rather just draw the dimensions of the drawing.
Could be.
Do you understand what I mean? So it'd be interesting to find out.
On the first one, at least, I've got a copy of number 7, the cover of number 7 here. Whoops.
I've got
come on.
I've got that. I don't have it here in the room, but I've got that comic, and I've got
number 7's definitely got a Neil Adams cover on it.
Does it? All right.
Yeah.
Number 1, you have one there, Randy? Do you have a number 1 in Humans still, or
Amazing Adventures?
Yeah.
There's number 7. I can't enlarge it, but I don't think I can. No, I can't. That's definitely Neil Adams, though. Yeah, there's number 1 again. No, that's number 2. And that looks like oh man, that looks like Buscema on the bottom. What about the top here? That could be Romita. No, that's John. That's John Buscema. So that only happened for one issue, but they might have taken the covers that were intended for there's sorry, here I'm looking at it, and
That's a,
you're not seeing
awesome.
it.
That's
That,
cool.
That black guy looks like Neil Adams to me.
That's it. Yeah, I was going to say that's number 7. That's
Yeah.
Neil Adams.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Beautiful.
Let me go back here.
Yeah. Wow.
Beautiful.
Boom, there he is again. Oh, let me go back here. That's where we were. There's number 6. Can we see that? That's also Neil Adams. That's real obvious.
Yeah. They're fantastic, aren't they? Just absolutely amazing.
I'm
Beast
still
was
in
number
awe about the colors.
14.
You know, the colors that they added. I mean, you guys growing up, it's amazing the differences in colors now. But man, it must have been so exciting to see. You know, even before
4.
I was born. Man, it's great.
Yeah, there's two covers considering the color. There's that X-Men one where the Sentinel's got his hands stretched out. I think it's X-Men 7, I think, and it's just red. And then there's the FF one with the Surfer on and the Watcher, and the background is just red.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what issue that is. And then there's also another one that stands out is that FF. I think it's, I don't know, 48. I don't, the one the Inhumans break free, where it's all yellow, where Black Bolt has got his hands stretched out. That's a Gil Kane cover.
There's Inhumans 1. That's a Gil Kane cover, but it's George Perez interior.
Right.
And then
awesome.
That might be. Let me see who would have inked that. I don't know if that's. I can't get close enough on it to see.
He may have done it himself.
Oh, you know, he might have at that point. Gil Kane did some amazing covers.
Yeah.
Wasn't he resident cover artist for a couple of years at one point in the 70s?
Resident cover artist, yeah.
All he did was covers. And I picked them up thinking he was going to be inside because, you know, I liked Gil Kane. And I was always disappointed that he was just the cover artist. There's Gil Kane.
Super villain team up. That's really Kane, yeah.
Look at those legs. You can tell with the legs, can't you?
The cool thing about Kane is he's like Kirby. He built off of basic shapes. Everything's got it's a shape piled into a shape, piled into a shape that makes a character.
Have you seen his pencils?
Yeah.
You can see all that sort of shape building there, can't you? Fabulous.
I'm a huge fan of Starhawks. That was a comic strip that he did for many years.
Yeah, I've got the black and white print of that. It's really good.
I've got it about 6 times over.
Right.
Because they print it in every strange format that you can imagine. And I just love that. Love being able to see the different printings, the different formats of these.
Just see that Inhumans there, straight ahead with the Black Widow with the Black Bolt, where it says a city dies. That one.
Right there.
Well, just look at imagine the size of a comic book. And half of that cover is lettering. But they still get it over with the artwork, don't they? I mean, look how good that is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And look at that, all Amazing Adventures, the Inhumans, and the Black Widow, and there's Merry Christmas Widow, and then Black Bolt Strike. Just tons of lettering on it, but it's just brilliant. And that red surface is standing on that Bolt standing on there. Look at that.
I would say that's John Buscema as well.
Yeah, it sure looks like him.
If you see the body here,
you see and the faces,
yeah.
It's wonderful, isn't it? We're really lucky, aren't we? We've had
just fantastic stuff.
Yeah, we are. We're so lucky. I know that. Randy, what's your favorite combination artist inker?
I don't have a very favorite because everybody's different. There's different pieces that stand out in your mind that are better than others. There's different covers, like we were just talking about Gil Kane there. Jack Kirby did a whole series of covers. Interior work, Frank Robbins.
Yeah.
I used to hate him. Now I absolutely love him. Gene Colan. I can't get away without looking at this stuff. I love, got all the Tomb of Dracula essentials here.
Awesome.
That's Colan and Tom Palmer, black and white. Which is the way that it should be.
Sure.
You know,
Marv Wolfman scripts all the way through those.
I've never read an issue of that Tomb of Dracula.
No? Oh, you're missing out, bro.
They're
fantastic. They're fantastic.
I haven't read them recently, but I had a whole run of them at one point. I probably still do back in my long boxes that I went through and read, and they were incredible.
Yeah.
See, I missed that because that was just when I was leaving comics, when I was going to college, when I was early 70s when that came out. So I saw it, and I've always liked Gene Colan's work, but I didn't pick it up, and I just and then 10 years later, when I got back in, 12 years later, when I got back into comics, I saw them again, and I didn't buy them. And then I saw them in Essentials,
Mhm.
and I thought, I've got to get that, and I didn't get it, and I regret that, because apparently they're all very rare these days, aren't they, those Essentials? I've got a few.
Well,
of
you
them,
can
but
get. I
but
mean,
not those.
you can get the trade now. You know, you can enjoy
Right.
them even online. But
Yeah, they
you know,
have them in omnibuses and
Mhm.
digital. You know, it's
I
not
know,
the same.
But I want
No.
to see it in black and white.
I know. Yeah, right. Well, that's it. They do offer. I'm sure they've got it in black and white, because the ones I got when I was a kid, they were. Let's see, it was in the mid '80s when we picked them up, and they were in black and white. The ones I
Right.
had.
See,
So
the
they,
cool thing about over in England is they reprinted the Marvel universe about
Mhm.
5 times over, and at least
Mhm.
4 of those were in black and white in different formats.
Mhm.
You had Titan coming out in a long rectangular format, a little digest format in a
Awesome.
almost
Yep.
like a throwaway, like National Enquirer, all newsprint format. I've got Captain Britain's like that. Had a guy at the show here in Flint that we were at, that was selling older British reprints, 70s, around it. I mean, like they one of the first English releases of the Fantastic Four, hundreds of dollars,
Yeah.
$700.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking at that, going, dude, I gotta stack it. I should run home and
Yeah.
get this and bring it back to you. But
Mark them
I
down
wouldn't- I wouldn't
half
wanna
the
part
price.
with
Here- Here's a story for you. You probably know this. Back in the mid '60s, there were IPC, I think it was, printed terrific and fantastic comics over here. And you know, I was a different size,
Mhm.
and they did a lot of reprints of Spider-Man, Nick Fury, Commandos, FF, Thor, and because the panels didn't fit the page properly, they had someone draw an extra quarter of an inch on the artwork. So they removed the bottom line of the panel and extended whatever was going on down. And I always noticed it was all these wavy lines. And it was only years later when I found out that it was a 16-year-old Barry Windsor Smith who'd done those corrections. And
Really?
he couldn't draw a straight line to save his life. They're awful. But I mean, look what he did later.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, absolutely. Or over here in the States, Eagle Comics is what it was called, and had the same eagle as what you have over there. But somebody had to have, here in the States, had to have leased it because they were printed American style. They took the old 2000 AD material and they squashed it and stretched it.
Yeah.
And it's
awful,
just awful. Just awful.
Well, I showed that Trigon.
They did that for many years, so they must have sold them pretty well.
Yeah, I showed you that Trigon Empire from last week, where they, I can't understand the page doesn't fit the page of the artwork. So what they did, they'd left panels out and readjusted, removed them and just moved them around. And I can't for the life of me work out why they didn't do the page to suit the artwork. I can't see how it would be difficult, but that's what they did. And you can see where there's big gaps in it. And
they were probably used to printing in one format as opposed to the other.
Wonder what people are thinking, you know.
They're probably under time restraints, right? You know, it's all about that and money. You know, maybe they just didn't have
it's probably under printer restraints.
Yeah.
Hey, we can print this size of book, but if you want this size of book, it's going to be so much more. I've said the story before. I went around and tried to check on getting a Big Little book printed. And my printer just looked at me and said the presses that could do that work are long gone.
Yeah.
You know, that could fold it down that far and glue the spine and be able to put everything together and put a backing board on it or a spine board on it. And, you know, because it was pretty much cardboard surrounded by newsprint. Long gone. He said, you want that done now? There are printers out there who will do it, but they're going to charge you like crazy to get it done.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that explains the last time I had gotten a Big Little book like that. They did one of the old TV shows of Hercules and Xena. They had done Big Little books that size. They wanted $29 for the book.
I believe it.
And it was Big Little book size. I mean, it was nice and thick and it had illustrations in it and everything. But I'm like looking at that going, they used to sell Big Little books for 10 cents.
Yep.
Holy crap. You know?
That
usually means he's going after.
Yep, I know. He's going diving.
He's diving.
Diving in the bookshelves.
All right. I know you've seen this, but I'll just show you what my point was. Trigon Empire.
Let me blow that up here. Boom.
Big gaps in the artwork. Look.
Oh yeah. But look at that work by Don Lawrence. Oh, it's gorgeous, man.
And you
all
can tell they just took that last panel and cut it
Yeah.
out, slid it down. They're
Yeah.
good to go. Good to go.
It's beautiful.
And
Wow.
it's
Yeah.
Don Lawrence's work
Mhm.
is absolutely stunning. I mean, it's all hand painted.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah,
that,
beautiful,
you know.
amazing stuff. Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
It's
And the
fabulous,
cameras
isn't it?
and the cameras here don't do it justice. You know.
no.
It's just great, man. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I just wish
No.
that somebody they may have done this. I just wish that they'd have published the right size and format and decent printing. Look at this Kirk Douglas guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, spit image. Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. And look at that really rubbish cover. This is great.
Mhm.
This is Don Lawrence. I don't know who did this.
They hired somebody.
Yeah.
Didn't hire me.
It's a
No.
little lacking.
But look, let me just show you this one.
Everybody's going to think it's a historical piece unless we put a spaceship on it. Come on.
Right.
If you,
Right.
if you need a
Exactly what it
piece of artwork to show you how brilliant Don Lawrence was, this is all hand painted. Look at this.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. That's
Look at
that's a mural in a restaurant. Holy
that.
cow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
just beautiful work.
Jeez. It's crazy.
Absolutely,
Absolutely.
incredible.
You don't
The thing
get
I like
better than
about
that.
the thing I like about Glenn is he enjoys really a good book. I mean, if it's a hardback book and it's got a lot of history to it for comics or whatever, I mean that's his go-to, man. He really appreciates a well-made book.
I'm really, really grateful to the universe that I've been around in my time with the things that were going on, comics, landing on the moon, all that stuff. It's been an amazing time. I'm sure anybody can say this, but I'm talking about me. But these, seeing Jack Kirby's work and Joe Sinnott and Gene Colan and everybody else, and I've said this before, I just can't understand why people don't get it. But you could say that about music. My dad couldn't understand why I like the Beatles. He used to listen to Mario Lanza. Great singer, but
Right.
not for
But
me.
not the Beatles. No.
Well, there's a reason why on Spotify the biggest, most played music is this stuff from the 70s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And that's because there's quality there.
Because it's good, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
There's definite artistic, endeavors and hard quality there. It's just crazy.
Mhm.
I love one of my favorite YouTube channels that I watch constantly is a guy who is the professor of rock. That's what he calls himself. It's a little guy with glasses that goes around and interviews the people that are left.
That's cool.
The people that are still around. And he's got that. It's like what I like about doing this show. You get that twinkle in your eye and you can tell that music is his life. Yeah. And that he might not, he's played in a band before and he knows how to play a guitar and all of this, but nothing that ever got big. But he realized that there was a need to go around and interview these people to catch the stories behind
While
these
they're
songs
still around. Yeah.
while they're still here. Yeah. And
Well,
he's got he gets Kenny Loggins and
Oh, cool.
all of these guys out there talking about and he'll do usually a video a day about a single or a song. And it's and half of this stuff is stuff I'm so tired of listening to because you heard it on the radio 15,000 times. But he'll go through and he'll explain to you everything that you want to know about that song and its impact in society. Yeah. There needs to be, and kayfabe is kind of close to that, but there needs to be a site out there that actually looks at the history instead of putting a fake sense of wrong context from where you're he'll do that too. He'll do these at the end. He'll usually tell you the relevance to it in his life and how important this stuff was to him. But in the meantime, he does this journalistic investigation, goes out and interview. That's really even cool. Stuff you don't like. You're sitting there and still listening to the guy because the business is fascinating.
Sure.
It'd be the exact same thing in comics. It's just that most of the big guys are leaving us, and have moved on.
If there was one place I could be for a year in terms of music, it would be at the Troubadour in California. In Los Angeles.
Absolutely.
Because this is in 1971, because the people who were on there, like Elton John, the really earliest, Randy, the Elton John's earliest, before 75.
Yeah.
You had Elton John on one week, then you'd have Carole King, you have Don McLean, you'd have Neil Young, and you'd have the Eagles later, and then you'd have Grand Funk Railroad, you have David Bowie. Everybody played in that place.
Yeah.
Imagine, I mean, they've knocked it down now, but all those, I believe that those images and sounds are in the walls.
Oh, sure.
And
Absolutely.
they've knocked it down. So
We've
they're
got
gone.
we have a building. This is kind of before my time, but my brothers were a few years older than me. So the Grandy Ballroom was such a huge thing in Detroit growing up. David Bowie, Rod Stewart said the best party he ever had was in Detroit after the Grandy Ballroom.
Yeah.
Janis Joplin played there. I mean, everybody played there.
Yeah.
And
Janis
MC5.
Joplin,
I mean,
wow.
then on and on and on. And I firmly believe that they're bringing it back now. They're restoring the building, but it's
Wow.
I agree with you. I think that
We used to have the Russellville Ballroom around here, and it's
right,
torn down. It's long gone, but it had everybody walk through. Yeah,
I slipped up a few years ago. I was going to write a book called 1971, and it was going to be my 1971, and it was going to do with all the music, Bowie and David Cassidy and Sweets and all these people, Mud and all these fantastic things. And somebody beat me to it, and there's a book out, and I'm sure I've mentioned this to several people, and I'm sure that on the grapevine this guy got the idea somewhere. Somebody said something to somebody, and he wrote it all. He did. It's my book. He wrote about the music. He wrote about the politics of the time, the world situation of the time. It was 1971, but it was held up by the music, and that's what I was going to do. So now I don't tell anybody what I'm going to write about, because somebody else is going to do it.
Give it to yourself.
There you go.
Sorry, Randy.
Every art form has their key years.
Mm-hmm.
Cinema has got 1936. That in the 80s, there are key years where just stuff come out that's so iconic. It's still around and big today. Like you said, music's the same way. The Professor of Rock guy he sells shirts with different years on them, with some of the artists along the top, like 1983, he's got a 1971, and just really key years and key eras where everything was clicking and everything was firing on all cylinders. What was it? 67, 68 Beach Boys,
Stars Were Aligned.
Sergeant Pepper, it wasn't too far away from Dark Side of the Moon. Just boom, boom, boom.
The Stones and all that kind of stuff.
Stones. The Stones were rolling back then.
I remember when in 72, when I first went to college, we were all 16, 17, 18, and we were bringing music in. So we're young kids, we're naive. I took the Beatles in. A friend of mine brought James Taylor and Neil Young in, and Kathy's, you'd love Kathy. Kathy's great. She brought David Cassidy in, the Partridge Family in, right? And then somebody else would bring Stevie Wonder in, some would bring Marvin Gaye in, some would bring Rod Stewart and Roxy Music and David Bowie and all this. And we used to sit there and it was your turn to put your record on, and nobody ever complained. And I always remember a girl called Jackie, and I'll tell you what she brought in. She brought in Moldy Old Dough. Do you remember that song?
No.
Lieutenant Pigeon. Do you remember that? No? Check it out. You won't believe it. It's the worst song you've ever heard. But nobody complained.
That's a terrible name.
Because everybody had a chance, and we were all listening and absorbing all this stuff. Neil Young and the Beach Boys and everything. It was absolutely incredible. Nobody complained. And when it was Jackie's turn, she put Moldy Old Dough on, and she also put My Ding-a-Ling on. That's
okay, I know that one. Yeah,
Chuck Berry, right?
Yeah, those two songs were out at the same time, and it's not the best song in the world, is it? But nobody ever complained. And
but it has deep meaning.
Yes, but we were all young and willing to learn and pick it up. It was just wonderful.
They're again back to time machines, right?
Yes.
Back to this nostalgic.
Comics are the same way. Comics are the exact same way. You get stuff before the code, and you look at the like the adult material that was out in the early 50s. Crime Does Not Pay, and those great old EC books. I've got speaking of black and whites, I got all the Russ Cockrum reprint.
Oh, really?
EC volumes. Because Gaines opened his vault one day to Russ and said, "I've got all that EC stuff. Do you want to see it?" And Bill, wasn't it Bill? Yeah, it was Bill. Bill had all of this stuff stashed from his dad's days, and as well as his work doing EC comics. I got it all here. Every story was in a manila envelope. Everything was filed away. And he decided he needed to liquidate the estate for the money. And they only auctioned off the artwork in story blocks. So you had to buy the whole story, which only left it available to certain collectors.
Sure.
But before they did that, Russ went through and made photostats out of all of the originals and then put them together into hardbound volumes.
Awesome.
And they're just beautiful.
That's great, man. That's
rare now?
I mean, you were talking about
archiving. Really rare.
Archival is such an important thing.
But
I mean, so
it's
important.
It's like those essential books, though. Anybody that sees them at a show, you know. And I bought my last 2 volumes that I didn't know existed were the oddball books that started at the beginning and the end. One I got at a show, and I'm like, I don't that brown box set right there. I've never seen that before. I need it. You know, well, how much you're gonna pay me for it, or how much am I gonna have to pay you for it? And then the last set that I got. And I think I got it handy here. Let me reach it. Squeak.
Is it live or is it Memorex?
It's purple.
Wow.
And
that's
it's
great, man.
It's Crime Patrol and War Against Crime. Crime. This is one part of the reason why crime was listed in the that and Crime Does Not Pay was listed as part of the Comic Code Authority, where you couldn't put crime on the and this is what they call pre-new trend EC. This is just as Gaines was deciding to do the new trend books, but it's got all of the big people, all the big people in here. It's a cover by Johnny Craig.
Oh, look at that.
So great. It's so great.
Oh my God. Very Ditko-esque, isn't it? That
and look at how simplistic that logo is. That's just a hand-drawn logo right there. But they're all in beautiful, black and white. I think that's Craig right there too. Look at that.
That's Ditko, isn't that Ditko?
No, it's not. Ditko didn't work for EC during that period. This is a little bit before Ditko come in.
That's great though.
But that is I'm pretty sure that particular story is Johnny Craig. He let them sign their stuff. Yes, it is Johnny Craig.
Right
there.
That's so good. That looks
look
so
at that
Slaughter Syndicate.
Look at the lettering on it, though. Look at it. Look at that,
so
that title.
Yeah.
I've got the entire run of Mad on a PDF, but it's on a hard drive I can't access.
Yeah. Oh, that's a shame.
I've got it in a box set, first 24 issues.
Wow.
Because that was part of this new trend stuff. Here is the great I want to make sure I have it right. I'm pretty sure this is Jack Kamen, but I'm not sure. I'm not seeing the signature on it. But look at that.
God,
beautiful.
Look at the lines on that. Oh, that looks so good.
Look at that.
That's just sick.
And this is the pre-trend stuff. This is before it got really good. Before Vault of Horror, before Tales from the Crypt. Here's a great one. Look at this. Who inked this? And look at this. They're playing around with layout. Look at that full body shot right there. Just gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
it's great.
Gorgeous. Very
Here
early
we go.
50s.
Here we go. Randy.
I can't find who. The Werewolf's Curse. What this is called. It looks like Graham Ingalls almost, only very, very, very early. Let me shrink down here. There you go, Glenn. You're going to show something?
Yeah, Comics Sunlips in #1. EC Comics.
Oh, there you are.
Man.
Yep.
Hardcore. Yep. Boom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right there.
Johnny Craig, as you can see. And then you've got this one. This is a real belter, this one. You've probably all seen it, but look at that.
I read that to the kid.
Yeah, that's a Tales from the Crypt right there, I believe.
There's no wonder that Wortham took them to court, is there?
No
Look
doubt.
at that.
Well,
look at her eyes.
Wortham didn't take him to court. There were Senate hearings where he was Gaines was brought up to explain himself as to why these comics for kids are so damn bloody. And it's like, well, somebody said that it caused a stir. All the gore and stuff in it, they were selling millions. And
of course,
all those titles were bi-monthly at the time, and they were still selling millions. And
it's no coincidence that they packed Elvis off to the army at the same time a couple of years later, is it?
Big
I think causing all these juvenile delinquents.
On these titles, all of the coloring on here is Marie Severin, and they went through and got a hold of her and had her recolor them to the colors that she had colored.
Oh, that's cool. And she remembered. Did she
Oh
have
no,
all
they
the
had the books. They had
Wow.
stats of the titles. Look at that.
Wow.
He's taking down the most wanted sign because they cut the guy. Real stories. From
Look at the
police
sergeant
record.
laughing. The sergeant laughing at behind the desk.
Crazy.
He's happy. Another one going to jail. Yeah, I should probably blow that up.
Long arm.
Just so that folks can see. Take a look at that cover. Look at that happy little night dude. Hey, he's gleeful.
Great haircut, man.
Taking him out. Very 50s. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, he's balding anyway. So
Fabulous.
wanted James Dorr. Got him. Reward 1,000. Done. It's great stuff. But all of those ECs, you catch those, you're probably going to pay, I don't know, $250, I think, for a box set.
That's great though that you guys
Like
are, you're so passionate about it. I mean, that's the beauty of all of it. You
Well,
guys
when
are trying to keep track of it and tell the next generation,
When those box sets were first announced, this was years ago, back in the probably, I think it was 70s when he first started doing them. $45. And that was a huge expense.
Wow.
But you got 4 books. You got 4 books in a case, just like I showed you. And they started with Weird Science. And they worked out one case every like 3 months, I think it was.
That's great.
And then this last one was done in looks like it was done in 93. It's when they finally got done. When they printed this last set, because I had never known that this set existed, but they're
That's awesome though. Glad you got it.
I got that from my retailer guy in Saginaw who had bought out a store in North or South Carolina, and it was all part of it. And as soon as I seen it, I said, never seen that before. I have to get that one. But there's a brown set out there that's got some of the early pre-new trend material in it too, and then there's a green set out there that has all of the ones after the big new trend run, back when Gaines was trying to do magazines or to do anything that would sit within the code. Psychoanalysis, Valor, Aces High, I think it was called. There's a whole string of books that he tried to do that for a couple of years he did them bi-monthly just to see if he could stay within the code limitations, and he couldn't make it. So he's tried to do magazines and did Shock Suspense stories and a couple of issues of that. But then he took his humor magazine, Mad, and just ran with it and turned that into a regular magazine, went out and found the usual gang of idiots and made an empire. Yeah.
That's crazy. One of the things I do respect about both of you is that you've taken your love for, print in general, and you both have built companies on it. What was the biggest thing? I'm going to ask you first, Randy. What was the biggest thing that made you want to do Flint Comics? Like, was it economics? Was it just the, Glenn, I kind of know already, but for Randy, what was
with printing Flint Comics, I had already print Arrow Comics 3.0 and had ran and butted heads really hard with Diamond constantly. And so I got out. I started my own apparel business with a couple of other friends, and we ran that for 4 or 5 years. And we had it here in Flint. We're getting T-shirt jobs and printing shirts and apparel and that kind of thing. But the one thing that ever since the 80s, the first time you get a book that you've done, that you've worked on, that you physically hold it in your hands, that you're able to look through it and read it and see other people reading it, and that you decide then if you're going to do this for the rest of your life. And I decided I couldn't let Diamond stop me from doing what I loved, and I loved doing comics. So I had gotten involved with a local political paper here where that sprung up. This is the home of Michael Moore too. He started the Michigan Voice, or the Flint Voice, that turned into the Michigan Voice, and then he went on to do documentaries. So there was another group here about 2004, I think it was 2003, 2004, that started a political paper here. It's mostly progressive, mostly left-leaning. But I went in to the guy and I says, I've got to do cartoons for you because you're doing alternative comics. I says, I don't care the political leanings. whatever you need done, I will do. And so we did. That's where I created the Spark, which is a superhero character that has electrical powers, whose grandfather gets the abilities because he's working in the shops here in Flint. And I did another goofball superhero urban street crime fighter called Citizen Flint for a little while, and we created a whole a whole little group of characters and stuff, located for the city. And we would get them, the paper was printed every month, and we'd get back this great response. We found all of these great talents that were local, that were doing, just most of it was very biting satire. We had one guy that did what was it, Hellbound or Hell Spent, something like that, which was the most oppressive strip you've ever read in your life, but it was funny.
Yeah.
And it was just bitter. It was bitter, funny, and black humor, just dark stuff. But yeah, I got to be the editorial, the cartoon editor for the paper. It's not a big job, didn't pay anything, but I was happy to do it because we were printing papers and going, and that's what I was seeing. Once a year, we did an edition of the paper, usually around August, September. That was dedicated to comics. So we'd have little comic related articles in it. We'd still carry the political stuff as well, but the comic section would be a little bit more expanded. And we went out and tried to find stuff that was intentionally aimed at, at the comic market. And those issues got a lot of response, a lot of big response. So when that paper folded, I'm working at the apparel business, and that goes south. And I took my clients from there and started my commercial art business. That's when I took the big, bold step out and bought the vinyl cutter and all of this, and started doing signs and shirts myself. Got to talking with a friend, and I says, we should try a comic paper, because I've seen comic shop news and media scene from Steranko and all of this, and we can do a comics paper and get it advertiser supported and turn it into an alternative paper and sell it to folks. And that's what really got me printing Flint comics. And we originally started out as a group of 3, and then I was on the creative end, one guy was on the promotional end, and one we had a girl that was going around selling the ads. And it turned out really good there at the start. The girl had to go off and find other things to do, and then after 50 or so issues, my other partner got tired of working on it and not making a serious amount of money. It was at the point where it was making money, but it wasn't making a serious amount of money. We weren't able to totally live off of it. I was still doing commercial work here, but every issue of Flint Comics carried an ad for my commercial business. And my commercial business started giving me more business than I could allow time to put the paper together. Mm-hmm. So there were times that the paper was literally slapped together, just sent out. But we had people so hooked on that paper that they figured out that was my phone number that was in that ad. Get a call from people. It didn't matter what time of day. Where's the paper? That's when you got them. It's like, oh, there's actually people that are reading this on a regular basis and want to know where the next issue is. So I took a Facebook page out and started telling everybody, papers under production, papers gone to the printer, papers out of the printer and heading to the distributor. The paper is completely distributed. Go find it. And that's where what your father-in-law came in.
Right. Full disclosure, my father-in-law actually worked for Randy. Wow. And he'd been telling me for years, dude, you've got to meet this guy. You got to see what he's doing. I'm like, whatever.
And it's crazy too, because originally we'd go in and I'd load those racks myself. Yeah. I didn't pay the distributor for the first year. Yeah. And then the distributor guy tracked me down, also number in the paper, because Dave had gone through and just pulled, had a whole back
really funny
pickup truck of all of the papers that he had gone through and re-pulled from all of the places we had dropped them off at. And the guy said, look, the distributor called me and says, look, I know what you're doing, and I know you're doing it yourself, but and I'm going to allow you to keep doing it because you're not in my way, really. Dave got a little mad at you and pulled some of your stuff, but you can have all that back, and you can keep doing it. But I'm going to keep watching you, and once I've decided you've done it enough, you're going to have to start paying me for that space. And I said, yeah, okay. Whatever, that's fine. We'll just keep going. We almost didn't have an issue 2. We almost didn't have an issue 5. We almost didn't have an issue 13, and it got to the point where we were every issue. That's why I had to stop it. Is every issue we were questioning whether or not we were going to break even, and if we didn't, that money had to come out of my savings. So after enough of it had come out of my savings, and it wasn't a huge expense either, and the rewards that we were getting from it and from the commercial work would have almost made it worth it. But after 100 issues, the wife said, you should probably stop it
10 years
before we have to file for bankruptcy. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Let me do 100. I took it up to 100 and I stopped it. Issue 99 was our special next to the last issue. Really proud of that. Everybody was like going, this says special next to the last issue. I said, yes, it does. And then issue 100, I made a t-shirt out of the illustration. I did it. I made it big and it folds out extra size. And because when you're working in newsprint, there's all sorts of different formats that you can play with, and we were big enough to fold down into I think I got a copy of it here. We were able to fold down into a newspaper bag size, issue 50 of the paper right there. We had a George Perez cover on it because some of the people that worked on the paper knew George and had gone to dinner with him. Where I had a couple of young girls that were doing interviews and doing their own strips. This is the Spark character drawn by George Perez.
Awesome.
Proudly drawn by George Perez. This is Lucky the One-Eyed Stray Dog, which is a creation of Lane Toth at the time. She's married and moved on now. And then this is her sister's creation here. Perry created See-Through Baby.
Who's got the artwork, Randy?
Of this?
Yeah.
I don't. I think that Toths have the artwork for it. I've got Xeroxes of the pencils.
Yeah.
But George did it.
George is such a great guy.
George did it. Yeah, George did it under the understanding that Lane had to ink it. And Lane was the artist on the Lucky here. And and Lane was nervous. He went through an ink. Did an incredibly professional job on it. It's crazy. Then we got a professional graphics guy out of Kalamazoo that we had. We all know as friends. Yep. Kalamazoo. That's an actual place here.
Yeah.
Not too far away from Battle Creek. So
that's right.
There we are.
That's right.
But anyway, he went through and did the colors on it. And then I went through and put the blue background on it and did the paste up on the issue and added all of the other characters and stuff in it. But yeah, I was really super proud of that cover. George was happy to do it. Probably took him,
3 minutes.
Maybe an hour. A half an hour probably, but he was happy to do it.
Most accommodating guy.
Yeah, he was so happy to draw all the characters too, because he had never drawn them before.
Yeah, he was really just a terrific guy. I was really fortunate to know him. He was fantastic.
Yeah, we ran an interview with him and his top 10 comics at that time that he had done. That the girls had a quick interview with him, and it was just a lot of fun. But the whole paper was a lot of fun. Anyway, last issue we did, the paper normally folded out what they call quarter folded, just like a regular newspaper. And the last issue went one more lengthwise, opened up wider, so that in the middle of the paper, which was always in color, was one big fold out poster of all of the cartoon characters that we had featured in those 100 issues. And I made sure every last one of them was on there. It was a big collage of all of the characters, and thanks from Flint Comics for, your patronage, that kind of thing. And really, really proud of that issue.
So it was a passion project then. Summing it all up, you were. I know that with Glenn, with Crikey, and all of it.
It had a lot of possibilities. The thing that's really stalled us and stumbled us was the Flint water crisis in 2014.
Understandably,
that's what really got us. Yeah,
and it's and it's a travesty.
That's when it went to making a little money to losing a little money.
Yeah,
every issue. Yeah.
Glenn, did you start out of Crikey with that then? Was Crikey the first one out of the gate for the idea that you had for? I know that Comics Unlimited is the next kind of
no. The first nothing to do with comics. The first self-published magazine was Undercover in the early 90s.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Secret Government and all that. I published that with another guy, and then we ran into some problems with that, which I won't go into here. Nothing to do with sales. And a year later, we co-wrote and produced the Coronation Street magazine.
Oh,
the soap opera thing.
Yeah, yeah.
We did that for a year, and then same guy, and then me and this guy we created Crikey. 10 years later, 10 years after that. And,
did you end up having to fold the Coronation Street magazine?
No, what happened there was it did fold, but what happened there was I was co-writer and designer for the first 10 or 12 issues. I can't remember, but it's all political. It's all political, isn't it? The guy I worked with who produced it was okay, but his business partner didn't like me at all for some reason, whatever. And I co-wrote and produced Undercover with this other guy involved. Then we did Coronation Street magazine, and he wasn't happy with me being around, basically, and I helped build this up and all this kind of thing. So he stopped giving me, he stopped ringing me to tell me these interviews and articles were ready. And then the next issue came out, and they had a studio, and I was freelancing, and they had a studio. And I thought, oh, okay. So I made a call, and they said, oh, well, we're letting these other guys do it. So I said, okay. So I left it, and I think it was issue 10. I'm not sure, issue 10 or 12. And then it closed at 18. And the reason I'm taking credit here, the reason it closed was because it was badly designed and it was badly written. But me and the other guy did a really good job on it. And I'll say I did a good job on the design because it worked. But these other people got involved, and it's like everything else. When you get more than 2 or 3 people involved,
too many cheats.
It just turns to crap. It just too many opinions, too much falling out. So, and then it just went under from there. But the people were flying in from. I think Coronation Street is its biggest following is in Canada, and I don't know whether you know the characters, but there was a guy called Bill Tarmy, and he used to play. I can't remember his name now. Duckworth, and he's a singer, and he used to go to Canada and sing. This guy, as Bill Tarmy, and so the Canadian fan group, which was tens of thousands in Canada, latched onto this magazine. They loved it, and they came over. And they used to come over every year to meet the stars, go on the set, and all this kind of thing. Well, they made a special day to come and see us, and we had to. I had to stop doing what I was doing because I knew what was happening 6 weeks ahead, and I had it on the screen. I had it on the screen. And they said, "Oh, well, show us some pages," and I can't because we were under NDA for this.
NDA, sure.
And it was, oh, go on, let's have a sneak preview. And I said, well, I'd love to, because I didn't really care about that, but I did care about my work, my job, or my money. And but they came over, and they all this. We went to meet all the stars. But like I said, they decided that they didn't. This guy decided that he didn't need me. He didn't see my input. And then it was proven what my input was because it closed after 6 more issues or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'd love to do it again, but I think they do one online now. But I'd love to do it again because I met all the stars and interviewed them and went on the sets and all this kind of thing. And I wasn't a big fan of the program, but I had to be when I was doing it because they'd send me scripts and they'd send me synopses of what was going to happen in the show. And I had to write what's the word? An episode recall that hadn't been broadcast yet. So I needed to know what had happened to put it in the recall.
Sure.
It was really good working on that. I really enjoyed it.
But Crikey was again after that. Crikey was a passion project, or was it more
then we sort of fell out with these people. They were demanding that I go in and do work when I'd found other work, and they'd let me down. So I said, no, I'm doing this today. You'll have to, So they took it that I was letting them down. Anyway, 10 years later, the guy I worked with initially had left that business. They'd sold it, and he looked me up, and he said we want to do something about British comics. So we created Crikey. I designed it again, wrote a lot of the articles on it, and put it together, and we put it out. But then, as you know, the story about Borders, this guy Brian left. He left the magazine at issue 7. I took it on, and then at issue 11, I think it was, I decided to. It was getting to a point where it was costing me money to produce it.
Right.
It was wanting to run, but I couldn't let it. So I let it, and I went into Borders, and I had to. It was 52-page black and white to start with. really well received, 300 subscriptions, really, and increasing, really did well. It was in Forbidden Planet, it was all over the country, overseas subscriptions a lot, doing really well. And I had to make a decision. I had to make a decision either to stop it or to go big. So I went big. I went into Borders. I had to go monthly. It was bi-monthly. It was bi-monthly. It was 52 page bi-monthly, black and white. But when I went big time, I had to do 84 page full color monthly. So my workload doubled. So I did this. I had to, and when I printed the black and white, as soon as that came off the press, I was £1,000 down.
Mm-hmm.
When it came off the press at the big printer, I was £3,500 down.
Wow.
Before I'd sold one. But it sold well. It went up again. It was climbing. More subs were coming in. And then, as you know, Borders just went boom.
Yeah.
And just leveled it. I lost all my stock. I didn't get any money for the sales.
Wow.
And I lost a lot of money. And this is why I'm doing Comics Unlimited online, because there's no way I'm going up to that printer and being a couple of grand down, you know.
Absolutely. Yep.
But yeah, it was great to, of the three. Well, I won't say which is the best one because they're all different. But if I could continue one, I would have continued Crikey, I think, because it was just more to what I like to do, you know, the comics and things.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's similar production on the things that we're looking at here on my desk, and that it's interesting though, because there's so many things that are similar in both your stories.
Yeah.
If you hear it, it's like wow. And what you guys have both gone through, you can probably understand the comic side of it, like with Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and the whole tension, all that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what they went through, but it's interesting to see your guys' view on it.
Well, my story is even more similar to Randy's, I think, because when I was 14, 15, I wanted to be a printer. I've always loved books and magazines, the feel of them. And I wanted to, for some strange reason, I wanted to be a printer. And when I was at school, when I was 15, they had this, it was called an Adana printing press. You've probably seen this, only quite about as big as your fridge or your washing machine. And they have the roller comes on the plate and goes on it. And it's got movable type and all these, Randy knows all this, the coins and leading and cases and beds and all this stuff.
Yep.
And I used to do the footballs fixtures for the school. I used to do the school magazine. I was the printer. Nobody else wanted to touch it. And I loved it. That machine was mine. So I wanted to be a printer. So when I was 15, I was getting ready to leave school. I went along with my dad to the Daily Express, which was a newspaper in Manchester. And I learned two things that day. One was politics and one was disappointment. I thought I'd just get a job there. I was only 15. I thought I'd be making tea for people, you know, I'd be a junior. But my dad said, this guy said to my dad, you can't, am I in the union? I was still at school. Was I in the union? And my dad said, well, no, he's not. He's still at school. He said, well, you can't get the job until you've joined the union, and you can't join the union till you get the job. And on the way back, my dad said, that's what they call a closed shop. The job that was there possibly for you would be going to that guy's son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Sound familiar, Randy?
Oh, yeah.
Randy knows about this.
And then I broke away and went to art college and was in graphics for 40 years and just dipped my toe in here again. I did a lot of illustration, a lot of copywriting, a lot of typography, the whole, like Randy again, I learned the whole thing. My dad said to me, learn everything you can.
Sure.
And I used to do illustrations. I can do that.
Yep.
Who knows about typesetting? I can do that. And I didn't know. I just used to say, I can do that. And I'd learn on the spot. So fonts and leading and all the stuff, hand lettering, all of it, which is why, you know, I'm so passionate about the traditional artwork.
Yeah.
And then moved into graphics. And then I got into photography, cinematography, audio recording, the whole thing. So I'm not an expert, but
you guys are YouTubers. Crazy.
I've touched into there. Yeah. I've touched. I like to learn. I've said this before. I like to learn. I wish I could learn more. Wish I knew more. And I like to take my opportunities, as I've said. The opportunities are the same, and I've missed more opportunities than I've taken. But I like to, you know, I like to travel and write and things like that. And now with the on-demand printing, it's a lot easier because you don't have to stump up a couple of grand to get your book out or whatever. You know.
Well, I
It's all there.
understand where you guys are coming from as far as the books, though. I understand why you love them so much and why you love print so much, Randy. And I mean, that's why when I show you the books I've got, I'm like, I see you guys just like, oh, I remember that. I remember, it's so cool to watch.
We're going to talk about that in just a second. We've just rounded the top of the hour, and we need to play a couple of bumps and talk about a little business, and then we'll be right back.
Okay.
So let's do that. Here's a campaign that is almost over that I want to talk about before we're done, but we'll definitely talk to you first, Ted. The comics that you have. Here's a little spot for a campaign right now. When your timeline reaches its Armageddon, what's a kid to do?
I'm not a...
Snag the keys to your mom's experimental ship, of course.
That's not quite how it happened.
Drift aimlessly in the rift between dimensions, trying to figure out how to operate it.
Now hold on a sec.
Pick up a few hitchhikers.
Hi!
Hello.
And maybe solve a disturbing mystery that could lead to the destruction of reality itself.
If there's time.
There's always time.
I'm not so sure about that.
Get in on the adventure with the Rift Riders on Indiegogo.
How dare you?
I'm not wearing any pants. Film at 11.
Is that your voice on that advert, Randy?
On the Rift Riders, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
The cool thing, that Rift Riders is over on Indiegogo right now. Let me just get this out of the way. If you go over to that Rift Riders, you take a look at that campaign, the featured tier on there is a round of Arrow comics.
Oh, cool.
That Rift Riders is part of. You get 8 comics for $50, and they're 32-page, beautifully printed, slick books. In that group is Only Death Can Save Us #1, Hybrids #1, Herobot Zero #1, Revolt #1, and Calico #1, Paragon #1, Marvy Sin Killer #1, and Marvy Sin Killer. It's got a #2 out. If it's not printed yet, it's about to be printed. That's just beautiful. Just he steps so far in quality. It's just impressive, and fantastic. And the Rift Riders book, all for $50 plus. I think it's $10 shipping. But it's more than worth it. The campaign needs your support. Right now, it's not funded yet, but the books are going to get printed anyway. The books are already printed. I've got copies of Calico, Paragon, Herobot right here with me. So these books are already printed for that Arrow Comics tier. Go out there and take a good look at it. And Rift Riders is a fun, really professional product that you need to also look at. Good entertainment, family oriented, written by Luke Stone, drawn by I believe the artist's name is Dillard. It's just a great stuff. A little bit of manga influence in it. Very accessible style. Great work. Go over there. Rift Riders over on Indiegogo. Please go over there and take a look at that campaign. I've got another campaign coming up, I think on Wednesday to talk about, called Dragon's Child. That's also very fun, very family oriented. That is a little short of the goal at the moment. I believe that's Katie Smith is the artist on that and creator of that property. I'm hoping to have her on the Zimcast on Wednesday night to talk more about that book. That book needs a little bit of help, and it's also a very professional, nice looking family book. So it's dragons and kids, and it's just a lot of fun. The kind of stuff I love talking about here,
Good.
And also, before we stop, or before we get off of the pitch wagon here, if you got a campaign, you're going to ship that out and deliver on that campaign. You're going to want to ship those books in Gemini mailers. And if you go over to Gemini Comic Supply right now, buy your Gemini mailers, and there's different sizes of Gemini mailers for different size books. One Gemini mailer I found can pack a good 10 books. Mm-hmm. Easy and comfortably and safely. You tape the thing up, you're able to ship it through the mail, and the postman can toss it around all at once, and very rarely are you going to get any damaged corners in getting that delivered. And you can see how it's packed here. If you go at GeminiComicSupply.com, use the Ragin 10 code on your way out the door, RAGIN with the number 10, you're going to get 10% off of that order, no matter how many you buy. So courtesy of the Indie Comics Network and the Ragin 2 promotions. So cool. Go over there and do that. Now, Ted, you got stuff.
I think so. Well, you wanted me to unbag that one. Star
I
Spangled
did. Well,
Comics.
you're going to have to hold it up. Remember, nobody
Yes.
saw the stuff that we were talking about before we
So
started here.
what do we got here?
Blow that up a little bit. Look at that.
So this is 1947,
Oh.
number 70. Robin the Boy Wonder, Robin versus the Clock. And this is the one thing I was noticing. You were the stuff that you and I grew up with, guys. The colors were so amazing.
Yeah.
This is from 47, so they were still experimenting. This has probably got lead all over it, God knows. But
not enough to cause you any damage. Not enough
right?
to cause you any damage.
Right. But as far as the colors on this, I can't believe it's in such great shape. I mean, it's got some wear, and when we open it up, we'll see some of the
we call that well loved.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And but
the first story out the gate is Robin. And who knew Robin carried his own book? You know,
right.
Wow.
This is of course you got Bob's signature right there, or Bob's stamp. Yeah, crazy.
He might not have done anything in it, but he
I'm gonna say I think he'd left at that point, hadn't he?
Yeah. I don't know if you can see the damage here or not, but this is kind of
barely frayed. Yeah. Yep. Made in USA. I can see that.
Yeah. Printed in the
oh yeah, there you are. Yeah, it's got a little tear right there, a little corner
mouse bites maybe. I don't know what they are, but you see it.
Probably
you see how much of it missing, but
there's
fantastic
right there. Yeah,
it's in good condition though for 60.
It is though.
60 plus year. What 67 years old?
Only brownie reflex.
Staples are attached and slightly stressed. The spine is a little bit tore
a little bit worn.
In fact, it's 75 years old, isn't it? 1947. That's 75 years.
Look at that great back ad by Captain Tootsie, right? Selling Tootsie Rolls and comics.
Look at the colors on that after 75
I know, it's amazing.
Years.
It's absolutely amazing. So
that's C.C. Beck right there. He created that character.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So you can see some of the water damage there, but God, how many? We all have a little bit of water damage at 70, I'm sure. But
Captain Tootsie.
In any case, I don't want to tear it up too much, but I mean, just fantastic.
It's got a Robin story. Hold one of those pages up. Let's see if we know anybody who might have worked on that.
Let me see. Hold on a second. Okay, let's open the middle here and see what we got.
Bring it in a little closer. We need to take a look at that. Look at that Robin figure right there. That's sweet.
That's wonderful, isn't it? Look at the colors on it. From
Who did that? That's a good.
Years old.
That's a nice, good style there. Who is that? That's sweet.
Let's find out. See if they got it listed. I don't even know if they listed them back then.
No. Back then they didn't list it. No. And very, very rarely. Bob Kane probably wouldn't allow that because they want everybody to think that Bob did all the work.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was something else about that, wasn't he? He was really
but it reminds you of somebody else and somebody else, doesn't it?
Oh, what do you mean?
It does. Other creators, yeah.
Disney and Mr. Lee, just their name on it.
Well, in comics also, Moulton put his name on Wonder Woman for quite a while. Siegel and Schuster ended up getting their name on Superman there for a bit. And it's back up on there again. Who's up after Robin now? Robot Man. Awesome.
Look at that guy with the green stripe, that bad guy with the green.
Oh, yeah. That's a big shirt back then for thugs.
That looks like Kazar's wimpy brother, doesn't it?
Muscleman. Yeah.
But you're just I mean, it's pretty amazing. I can't believe how good of a shape it's in.
Jack Friendly gets a hero's medal. Yeah. Crazy.
Wow.
But anyway, I'm just throwing.
See if there's a shot of Robot Man in there. He should be in orange.
Sure.
I don't know if it's the same Robot Man or not. Might be a different Robot Man.
Give me a sec. Let me see. It doesn't look like that.
So he had his own little strip for a while. Robot Man did.
Wow.
I don't know. If that's Robot
slightly.
Man.
Yeah, that's Robot Man there. Yeah, it's slightly different version. This is the early Golden Age. Yeah. Stuff.
Beautiful.
Or mid Golden Age, I should say. But look at the cartoon.
How about that one
on there.
Look at that.
See, they did a lot of that stuff. Looks like the Plastic Man material too. Jack Cole's work,
right?
Who was really big during this period. Not afraid to get cartoony, not afraid to over exaggerate for humor. And here is a superhero strip with humor in it that's got mostly cartoony characters in it.
Right.
When's the last time you've seen that?
Imagine having a few pages of that on your wall.
Yeah, right.
Original artwork,
Right. I'm just seeing if they've got anything else. And then
That'd
you've
be
got
that'd be a heritage auction right
and
there.
then-
Yeah.
right. And then you
Star
got
Spangled Kid and
Look at
Stripesy.
that.
Heck yeah. Part of the 7 Soldiers of Victory there.
That's crazy. I mean, this is
vanishing
what's cool because you
microfilm.
guys can tell me more about it than I would
Let's take
know,
a
but-
good look at the at those thugs there in the corner. The crooks holding
Yeah.
the gun and the oh
like-
yeah,
look
look
like
at that.
banksters there, don't they?
Yeah, it's
That's
just
very-
quality stuff.
That's very
too. Look
that's
at
very Kirby, that composition and drawing, isn't it? And
Oh, yeah,
Captain-
absolutely.
Captain America.
And then you
type.
got the advertisement in the corner here.
Yeah.
that. Yeah. What is
Wow.
that for? Probably cod liver oil.
Wild root cream oil.
There
for
you go.
hair tonic. It's hair tonic.
Oh, okay.
Go figure. Hold on. I'll
Hair
keep
tonic
going here.
probably keeps you from going bald.
Right.
Yeah.
of
I
course.
wouldn't know. I wouldn't know about that.
No, never tried that one.
Give me a sec. Let me just go through this.
Told you,
I'm
Monica's grandfather told me one time what to do about my bald spot. He says, you go out in the farm field and you grab some cow manure and put it on there
Oh,
and leave it there for
Jesus.
2 weeks. So
Yeah.
your hair will grow back.
How about
Yeah.
the cars there, huh?
Yeah, great
Isn't
stuff.
that crazy.
Just incredible.
Rat-tat-tat-tat-tat.
And this is Stripesy. Stripesy is the character you see in Stargirl,
Oh,
who's got he's played by Luke Owen in Stargirl.
really?
Yeah, that's
Interesting.
that character. And he
Got
used to
it.
run around with Star Spangled Kid. Star Spangled Kid was last name I think was Pennyworth, if I'm not mistaken.
Pennyworth. Okay.
Almost
Cool.
the same as Alfred's. And he was a rich, spoiled brat kid, and the two of them, and he was kind of his butler character. The two of them decided to go around and start fighting crime because of all them nasty spies out there giving the info to the Germans and the Japs, you know,
Got it. This is
to the
Look at the
Axis. Yeah.
I mean, that's just insane.
That's
Some of
probably
the-
what they're breaking up there is if they're not crooks, then they're spies. Look at that face. Whack. Smack.
It's not very Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
esque.
Yeah.
I mean, there's. When did Dick Tracy come out? What was
Started
Over
in
the years.
36.
Okay, so
1936 during the age of the gangsters.
then
That's
you got a
why
couple-
all those unique characters were in Dick Tracy, flat top and the
Oh, yeah.
brow and that kind of
Ace
stuff.
Pilots.
Ace Pilot, yeah.
Columbia.
Well, where else would you find Star Spangled Kid than in Star Spangled Comics? You know,
yeah, right.
I used to, with the Marvels I started reading in the mid 60s, the way I used to spend as much time looking at the adverts as anything.
oh
I,
yeah,
always wanted to ask my dad if I could sell grit.
yeah. There you
Remember
go.
that one?
Absolutely.
So one of the things
I've seen a few copies of Grit. Yeah,
so they've got rub out. I don't know what I mean. Must be it's the
every book, most every book in the Golden Age had to run 2 pages of prose on the
Okay.
inside in order to get the clearance to be mailed as a magazine.
understandable. So
Spor-
that's your second
Shorty.
page.
Yeah,
There's Shorty.
that's how Stan Lee got his
I'm gonna
start,
say,
is writing
that's-
those 2
yeah.
pagers in Captain
Really?
America.
I
Yeah,
was just going to say,
That's
that
so
was
cool.
Stan's job, wasn't it?
yep. It's
I
the
did not know
local,
that.
the little
did not
kid
know that.
grunt working in the bullpen because they didn't mean for anybody to read those 2 pages.
Sure.
It was just there for mailing purposes for their
Right.
subscriptions.
Shorty there, and then they got another advertisement for
Circling
Inside
the
Baseball.
bases. Inside baseball from the big
Yeah,
league stars.
The adverts, like I said, they're just as good as the comics, aren't they?
Yeah.
So creative.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
and-
I mean, they're beautiful.
Spalding, there's a sporting goods company.
Yep.
Still to this
All right.
day.
So then we work into Tomahawk
oh,
Tomahawk.
and U.S. Royal.
The U.S. Royal there, that's another ad. That's probably selling
is it?
bonds or
Okay.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah,
Tomahawk's an old Western character. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And he survived well into the Code era. They did DC did quite a bit with him. Just like Robot Man, they ended up turning Robot Man orange, and
Did they?
they eventually ended up using him in Doom Patrol. Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
You're just a wealth of knowledge, Randy. I wouldn't have known that at all. That's
look,
awesome, man.
look at all the backgrounds on the artwork.
Yeah, cool. Sorry.
Look at all the backgrounds on it.
Oh yeah.
It's
But
fabulous.
the artwork in general is just such high quality, a lot different
Sure.
than what you would have expected from the Golden Age always gets a bad rep for mediocre artists and guys who didn't do very well. There were a lot of people during this period that took a lot of pride in their work.
Sure. The smell coming off of this thing is, I'm sure it's not healthy for me, but it's a
pure
it's a
addict,
real
baby.
musty,
Pure must. Yeah.
you know, even though it's been in a
Yep.
archival bag, but yeah,
Look at that. That's sweet.
back to advertising again.
Mm-hmm.
Grape nuts.
Yeah.
God.
Still, I think those are still around to this day too. It's that Post
God.
Kellogg's. What's
Yes,
the
it is. Yep,
Post
it is.
grape nuts?
And even back then, they were, man, in comic books.
They look like grape nuts. They tasted like grape nuts.
Must
So
be.
they just
grape
called
nuts.
them. They just called them grape nuts. It's wheat seeds.
Look at that. Get this 120-page
There
Daisy
you go.
Hamble. Pronto.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pronto
Daisy,
partner.
with the gun.
Pronto,
There you go.
partner. Yeah. That's one of those you'll poke your eye out.
Right,
ads.
kid.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're not going to buy you that. You'll poke your eye out.
I think I'll have to do an article in Comics Unlimited about the
I
advertising.
think we need to.
Captain
I think we
Tootsie.
absolutely need
Yeah.
to. But that it's something to be said though for the age of it and everything else. I'm glad that
75 years old.
A lot of nostalgia there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
One comic. Look what we found in that. That's incredible. And the stories, I wouldn't have known half the stuff you guys brought up.
I
That's
wonder
fantastic.
how many World War II references are in that.
Oh, probably every page. It looked like. I mean, it was. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Well,
it looked about
that's when
that.
Star Spangled really, started up that the age of patriotism and
Yeah.
Everything was pro-America.
Well, they were building a new nation, right? That was this house I'm in right now. This was built in after the war, probably 47. And because everybody had the GI Bill, they were moving. This was I know a couple of the houses up here were built when polio was real big.
Yeah.
It was the world's fine. And people were trying to get the kids out of the cities, away from everybody. Sounds familiar, right? And that's what a couple of neighbors I know, the houses that were built up here, the cottages were built for get their kids out of the city. What do you think about the World's Finest? That's that era. Is that's much later?
It's
Isn't it?
worth the cover alone. Is that Plastino? I think did the cover
Looks
for
like-
that.
Yeah, it looks like it.
I am not
Yeah,
sure.
you're
We're
not going
find
to
out.
get a credit on that either. You're not going to find.
No,
a
you don't think
signature
so?
on it. No.
No.
This is long before they started giving solid. Stan Lee is really really credited for making credits like that, and I think most of the time it's so that he could get his name in the
Right.
book.
Yep. Have you noticed how his name's just a couple of points bigger than everybody else,
Yeah,
even when it's next to Jack Kirby?
You can see all the indentations and everything.
Do you know
else on it, but
the first World's
Oh, yeah.
Finest? The first World's Finest I read was drawn by Kurt Swan.
sweet.
Mid-
I
So
was
this
gonna,
is-
I was going to say the very first World's Finest was actually World's Fair comics. That was given away at the World's Fair in New York.
we were talking about tech today on earlier today on Comics Unlimited podcast. How about
Look at
that?
Oh yeah!
It's 1959.
Yeah,
Wow, that's fantastic.
Pretty
that looks
cool.
like
And
that
we
again.
know
That
that
looks
guy.
like Plastino again, judging
Yeah.
from that Superman body. But yeah,
I just love the logos. Sorry.
yeah,
just crazy. Yeah,
that's paste done off photostats. Yeah.
Yeah.
crazy.
Occasionally, if you look close enough, you can see a hair width cut line every once in a while around around that stuff.
You're right. No signatures at all.
No.
This was from March 1959.
Yeah,
on the printed monthly. And again, we don't have to go through this page by page. I just wanted to show you that
Yeah.
it's just an amazing thing for.
I still would like to see a couple of pages just to figure out
Absolutely.
who's drawn the thing. So
Yeah, I wish they would have labeled it. I mean, but I love the old Batman. I was looking. I've got the 80 years of Batman, and they've got quite a few of them that are drawn like this. Fantastic.
Is that Bill Finger, Randy?
drawing the Batman? No,
Yeah.
no. That would be well into Dick Sprang, probably.
Dick Sprang.
This is probably Al Plastino, though, who did the artwork for this.
Yeah.
Just judging from the way that Superman is drawn with the barrel chest.
Yeah.
But that's my guess, and only a guess. It might
Lex
even be.
Luthor.
Look at that. Zoom in on that face there. Bring that up. Is that Luthor?
Yeah.
Look at that face. He's all happy. He's getting one over on Superman. That's for sure.
Look at the parachute. I mean, it's
That
just
does.
great.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Weisinger.
Yeah.
Maybe might
Yeah.
have done that. Looking at that
Yeah.
Superman body again.
how do you know? I mean, how do they you have to go back through the catalog, something to find out
Well,
Yeah,
online?
pretty
you-
much.
you
Pretty
can
much.
tell-
You have to have somebody who recognizes the style.
And one thing I noticed on the last 2 books, there's no huge spread, double page.
That's because you're dealing with a tight story there.
Okay,
That's back when they actually had beginning, middle, and endings
got
all
it.
in one issue. Yeah. Look at that Batman cover
Yeah.
though, and that ad, Batman marrying Batwoman
Yeah.
right there. There you go. Marriage
Batman
of
gets
Batman
his
and
partner.
Batwoman.
There's
Look at that
Tootsie
little
Roll again.
Tootsie Roll with the white
Dr.
mouse.
Rocket.
Yeah.
Crazy, just
That's
crazy.
Bottled City of Candor. They're across the they're at the ending. They must have stuck whoever that was causing a problem in Candor there. That's that Bottled
gotcha.
City that
Yeah, yeah.
Superman's looking at. Yeah.
Yep.
Mort Weisinger.
Yeah.
Did you look it up? Is that
No.
what it said?
No, I'm not saying it is.
You're
But
guessing.
for what Randy
Okay.
said, yeah, I can see
Yeah,
it. now.
that's
So,
a
that's a classic
a
right
close
there.
to educated guess. Yeah.
I remember these. I mean, this is older than what I remember, but this
Look
was
what I've got for you. Just classic stuff.
man. So they had several different stories then in each of these comics. Then,
Mhm.
so like the family favorite, the whatever, and then again Tomahawk again.
A lot of
So
that.
you had-
Yeah. Tomahawk was around for quite a while.
Sure. And this era, I mean, this was 10 cents. So you got multiple stories off of, compared to the one storyline.
And back then, during that 50s period, Westerns were raging. So, I mean,
Right.
they were the big fad.
And again, you're back to advertisements. It's interesting that
Yep.
they split. I didn't notice that before, but
Yeah.
they would put them on the bottom half.
In,
Sold
the
half
fir-
pages. Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
first few issues of Crikey, we ran the old ads that were in the British comics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
We just put them in.
That's
you
cool.
know.
That's cool. Could we do that in Comics Unlimited, or are there laws against that? Copyright.
There's probably some copyright by now, I would have thought.
That's
There
one
you
of
go.
them. One of them. They're green arrows. That got Speedy in it. It does. Is that drawn by Kirby? It might be.
Oh, wouldn't that be something?
Look at that. He's driving an old beat up arrow car.
Yeah, old.
That's
old
hilarious.
Junker.
The case of the Green Arrow Clown or the Green Error Clown. Yeah.
And then there's the pros, like we were saying.
Yep.
First stop, the moon. Interesting.
Usually 2 pages. That's also probably one of the promptings for doing letter pages.
Yeah.
So look at that car there. Oh, that's awesome.
That's the Aeromobile. Yeah.
That is so
One
cool.
thing that used to stick out to me in these older comics from the DC comics was the way they played the logo at the top of every page, the DC
Yes.
logo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here's if
The
you can
bullet.
show this. Sorry,
Yeah.
if you. Sorry,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm going to say I'm going to show you from Crikey #1.
Yeah, pop off there.
This
There you go.
is Crikey #1,
Mhm.
and there's the ads that I told you about.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, there you are.
Oh, I love that. That's great, man.
So
Yeah,
we just
I think that would be fun to do something like that, man.
you think
if we
so?
could get a couple of them, that would be
Well,
awesome.
Like you said, though, you should do an article on those old ads.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I
Because
think
I've
I'll
got a
have to
few
do
of the
that.
Star Wars ones from '77 that I just love to.
Valiant,
Wow,
Hurricane. Those are 2 comic titles, right?
it's great with that
Yeah.
P18
Corgi.
Volvo. That's
Oh, what
great.
a great.
Yeah,
Love corgis.
yeah,
Look at
no
that.
doubt. Yeah, that's a
Die-cast metal
P1800,
car.
man.
And,
That
and
thing is
look
great.
there, Roger Moore,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Saint. Yep,
the Saint. Yeah.
yep. I love that Volvo. That's a great car.
Great
Yeah.
die-cast metal cars out of Corgi for years.
Let me show you
Beautiful,
this.
beautiful
let-
work.
when you get a
Beautiful
sec.
toys.
Let me show you this clunker
Yeah.
that he's driving. You got to see the back wheel on that.
Look at, oh yeah,
Yeah, it's wood.
Flintstones.
Great.
Flintstones, isn't it? Look,
Show us
wow.
the upper panel there that's got the characters. Let's look at that closer.
Hold on. Which side? This side or this side?
No, the top part there. Yeah, just bring it up a little. Trying to see if there's anybody there that I recognize.
And then that's
No,
just the avatar.
no, I couldn't
Nothing?
tell you who did it. It's not Kirby though.
No.
Somebody else.
Very impressive though. For
Couldn't
being
tell
at
you
the
who.
time,
Oh, yeah.
I wish that we knew that. I wish that maybe
That
we
was-
can look it up. Maybe
That
we can
was
look it up.
59. That was
Yes, March of '59.
about almost at the start of the Silver Age. Well, it is
Yep.
the Silver Age technically because it's got a Comic Code Authority stamp on it.
What's the ad?
Right.
Can you buy a grenade?
Absolutely.
It's probably caps. You could
Hey,
probably
kids, it's
put
a
cap in
grenade. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
Might as well get you ready. We've got another war coming, for
Did you say 59 on that or
59,
56?
right? So they're
59?
right
So-
after the Korean War and
So
all
Vietnam's looming.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Teach the kids how to throw a grenade.
Anyway.
Do you
Wow.
want spending money? Is that a grit ad?
I think so. Sell your popular Patreon
Joy
religious
stamp collector.
Religious.
mottos.
The thing that sticks in my mind as well is the prices. Look at that. You're getting it for 25 cents.
Yeah.
It's nothing, is it?
You can start a hobby on a quarter. There you are.
Yeah. I remember
And
that.
these
that's
look
just a
relatively
classic ad. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks relatively new, 70s.
Yeah.
But it's from
Those
the
ran through the 70s. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Get these prices.
Yeah, I don't want to bore
Scout
anybody. But
Club
that
of
was,
America. Yeah.
that was very exciting. I thank you guys for letting me do that. That was awesome. Thank you.
I'm sure everybody watching just
There's
love the trip.
stacks and stacks, but I don't want to take too much of your time on that. But
Yeah.
boy, that's cool. I learned a lot just in those 2 books. Man, we got that's awesome. It's really, really great. Thank you for letting me do that.
No sweat.
Thank you.
Happy to do it. Happy to do it. I don't know if I could reach back here and grab something. Probably not right offhand. Got a copy of Action 1 sitting here in my rack.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
This is
Everybody needs one of these in their rack.
Yeah.
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 Reprint.
Yeah,
Yeah.
reprint.
Crikey number-
You wouldn't be handling like that if it wasn't, but go ahead.
Crikey
Sorry.
number 1 again.
Article
yes.
on
Yes.
Wortham, The Seduction of the
Yeah.
Innocent. Let me
Yes.
blow that up here. Boom.
That's great, man. What year
Yes.
was that? What year was the book? Crikey
Was it
published on that one?
50? Oh, this Crikey,
Yeah.
2007.
Okay, and it's still available.
It is from me, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Number 1,
Awesome.
signed if you want.
Excellent.
But yeah, it's a good magazine. It was well received, like I said, and it was just a shame that the timing was bad with Borders.
Yeah. You caught them
because-
just as they were going out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing that annoys me, I don't dwell on it because you'll understand. I lost a lot of money,
Mhm.
but I think the printer or somebody distributor could have told me because these places just don't fold, do they?
No,
The
they don't.
No.
people know what's going on.
no. There was a long process of them going out, and they knew that they had money trouble
Yeah.
for a good 6 months before that.
Oh,
they
easily,
get- so
yeah.
they get
They went
me
through
money
and
for
thinned out
those,
their
really.
stock really hard
Sure.
at our local Borders. I have a copy since we're showing stuff
Since
off.
we're
Here's-
bragging.
Yeah.
Since we're all
not,
bragging.
maybe not for bragging, but there's a copy
Oh,
of Shadow
yes.
number 8. This is
Yes.
this
Beautiful.
is the unbelievable Frank Robbins right
Mm.
there. Used to do the Johnny Hazard comic strip for years.
Yep.
Wrote many a Batman story.
Mm-hmm.
This is Night of the Mummy.
Oh, brilliant.
Night of the Mummy, and he's got an incredibly unique style. If you've never seen the Johnny Hazard comic strip, one of these days I'm going to do an entire Sunday Funnies, and it might be really soon, about comic strips and some of the great comic strips out there, some
Awesome.
of the great collections. IDW and Fantagraphics have done a number of great comic strip collection books that don't, and the adventure strip anymore just doesn't get enough appreciation, enough love. There's Shadow right there.
I want to see that art in black and white.
Beautiful.
Yeah, this would be great to see in black and white. Again, this is Frank Robbins, and every other page on these books are ads. There's a super catalog.
It's like put SpongeBob, that one, didn't it?
Hmm.
No, it's a
SpongeBob
catalog.
SquarePants.
That's back during their underground days.
Yeah.
That's
Look
so
at that.
cool.
Very underground influence there. What is that for? The Passaic Book Center. Passaic. Must be something in California. So, look at that. Very influenced by Milt Caniff
Yeah.
and Steve Canyon. He did Johnny Hazard for many years. Look at the black on that aviator jacket right there.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's great.
It's crazy.
Get a chance to draw a plane, you never
that's
turn
so
that
great.
down. There you are.
I love the way
that's
the
Mike
the-
Mignola. That's so Mike Mignola, man. That
I
looks
like,
so
I love the way,
there's a lot
I
of
love the way the
Robbins
girls
influence
are sort of look like 40s and 50s film stars.
Yeah.
That
Well, this is the
that look
Shadow,
that they
though. Yep. This is the Shadow, though. He's 40s and 50s all over.
Yep.
That's why William Kaluta, who did the first 6 Shadow books, is just perfectly set for that, because he had a very Art Deco, very tender style to his stuff. Robbins
Beautiful.
is also great, again, because of his Milt Caniff work and because he is such an experienced writer. You can't go wrong. Robbins drew the first, I think it was 25 or 30 issues of the Invaders for Marvel. Way back when, because he had such an accessible golden age style. There just wasn't anybody else that could do that book any kind of justice. It's a more serious looking Shadow face there. I don't know if they went through and redrew that. Probably.
Oh,
not.
that's great though. God, is that classic? That's so good. I love that. That's so good.
Kent Allard.
Yeah. It was always up in the air whether he was Lamont Cranston or Kent Allard.
Yeah.
That was kind of a duo identity. They in the books they tried to make it fuzzy on purpose. They make you think it was Cranston for many years, and then they brought Kent Allard in, and he was more of an adventurer, very much a precursor to Moon Knight. Shadow's got a lot of there's a lot of Shadow in the Moon Knight here. You want to talk about an ad? There's an ad. DC cover explosion.
100 pages for 60 cents.
Wow.
Oh, I used to love those, the super spectaculars, and they did a ton of them. Look, there's a romance, Young Love, Brave and the Bold, Tarzan, House of Mystery, Superman Family. What's there along the top there? Detective Comics, and
I love that panel.
Sergeant
That top panel is
Sergeant Rock.
awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
The top panel here.
No, the other side. Yeah, that one right there.
Was
top left. So crazy.
Was Gunner and Sarge in Our Fighting Forces?
In those 100 pages, they included everybody. There usually one story of each, and then 2 Sergeant Rocks, one original in the front, and then one reprint in the back.
Wow.
Were they all Kubert?
Not all of them, but a lot of them were Kubert. Kubert's best known for his Enemy Ace material. That was in that not Stars Our Fighting Forces, I think it was.
Didn't
Kubert
didn't he draw Hawkman?
Yes. Golden Age Hawkman, Silver Age Hawkman for many, many issues. Yeah.
And then Murphy Anderson and people like that.
Yep. That was during that same period.
Yeah.
Murphy at the time was probably inking Carmine Infantino on The Flash and Adam Strange at that point. Both of them incredible works, especially the Adam Strange material is just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you missed out, Glenn, on some of the stuff from the States when you're growing up?
Yeah, especially a lot of DC stuff, really, because like I said before, I didn't read DC. I saw it, but I didn't like it. But then Kirby came along and changed everything. And that Marvel thing, mid-60s, Galactus and FF and Spidey and all that came along, and I never really gave DC. DC was always very tame to me. The artwork was very nice. I love Kurt Swan. I love Gil Kane on the Green Lantern, but it was all very tame. And then Kirby came along and sort of blew the planet up.
Blew your mind,
And I thought, well, why would I read Kurt Swan Superman over Kirby's FF?
Truth.
As much as I like Kurt Swan's work.
Literally took the genre and stepped it up a notch.
Yeah.
And
1 or 2 notches, probably about 6,000.
You can't dismiss Kirby's influence all the way through the Marvel universe, because they were taking Kirby's stuff, because he had done the foundation work on all of these characters, and said, you study those dynamics, look at this. Even the guys coming in off of advertising like Buscema and maybe not Colin so much, but
Neil Adams, all those people.
Neil.
Well,
definitely Neil. And all of those all studied that guy's work.
Well, we were chastised this afternoon, weren't we, Ted? Or last Thursday, I should say.
Yeah, sorry, Thursday. Yeah.
Last Thursday, we were chastised because
on our show, Comics Unlimited.
Yeah, because we were talking about Kirby and Wood and Steranko and the usual suspects.
Yeah, but it's it's a master. You talk about the old master painters. I mean, it's the same.
Yeah.
Kirby's there.
Well,
It's-
they were complaining that you were reminiscing too much, or what?
No, because we kind of have we're kind of infatuated with Kirby. But there's there wouldn't be any Mike Mignola if there wasn't for Kirby.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be. I don't know. I mean, it's just
we were talking about
who we are drawn to.
Tech in comics. Who was the best? And we got some examples. And we had Wally Wood, Kirby, Steranko, and this person chastised us, say, "Oh, you guys, there are other people out there." Well, they're not the best ones. That's like saying we can't talk about the Beatles because they were the best, so you got to talk about everybody else, but not the Beatles. If you talk about the best, you're going to talk about the best, aren't you?
Yeah.
Or the ones that it's subjective. I mean, you find who you like, who resonates with you, and that's great. That's the whole part of comics. It's a common ground.
Seriously, though, nothing matches those great splash scenes of Reed Richards working in the Baxter Building, or those covers or 3/4 splash pages in EC and the science fiction books of Wally Wood inside a spaceship with all of the tubes and the
that's what we were showing. Yeah,
the knobs and everything. Just you can't argue with that. Right?
You see, it's like saying stuff. Yeah, it's like saying that. You can't. I like. Somebody likes something else and they don't accept that Lennon and McCartney were the greatest songwriters of the 20th century. That's just a fact. It doesn't matter whether you like them or not. It's just a fact, right? So you can't dismiss it. So we can't dismiss Kirby.
Nobody looks at facts anymore.
Well, that's true.
What's up with that?
That's
true.
But
feeling and emotion.
Right. Yeah. And I know that we end up tending to talk a lot about Jack, but you knew him. I mean, there's a definite
I met him. I don't know whether I knew him or
not. There are people out there that think Squirrel Girl is the greatest superhero of all time.
True.
I rest my case.
They really are.
Yeah.
And it might boggle our minds, but that's the way that they are.
I know there's two characters I really like is Hatch and Spank the Monkey. Those are the two that I really appreciate. So a lot. Not that I'm,
Oh, we've all got our favorites from our point in context.
Right.
We don't bother to go back. A lot of people don't bother to go back and look at the early stuff and look at the stuff that came before that and realize even the comic masters had influences. They had people that they loved and that they relied on, that they went back to for stylistic choices, or if there wasn't an Art Deco movement, there wouldn't have been a William Kaluta, for example. Doing the kind of work that he does, because it's beautiful.
See, the thing with Ted, you see, is I know why he likes Hatch so much, because he sees things like this. You see,
it's beautiful, man. Your inks are so good, Glenn. I gotta say, I mean, they really are. You mix your own ink; it's amazing.
Yeah,
beautiful colors. Absolutely beautiful.
Sweet.
I mean, that's great, dude. I mean, that's really is something.
Thank you. This is from Hatchet.
I don't know why he has telephone poles on an asteroid, but that's okay. We'll work with it.
Or who he's communicating with.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's right.
Who's
the best thing on this drawing is the fact that he's got his flying helmet on under his hard hat.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, there are some artists and writers that are just the best, whether you consider them, and
whether you look at them or not.
Yeah. Like Leonardo da Vinci was pretty good.
Sure.
But you got to accept things.
Right.
It's just when we're really too many people, I think, are looking at the wrong side of it. We should be looking at this people's work and feeling blessed for having it touched our lives. Don't say, "Oh, I like this guy better than the other," and the other. You're always talking about him. That's just silly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's true, but it's silly,
Well, the real sad thing is that these kids today, anyway, they have their own point of reference, their own point of context, but it's getting harder and harder to find the older material to where you can open up. You see all of these videos online of all of these books that are slabbed with a special number in the corner and a grading number in the corner.
Read them. Yeah,
you can't read them. And Marvel and DC, especially, if they do reprints anymore, they do them in large volumes at high prices. At where all of this stuff and so much of it needs desperately to become accessible. And they could sit there. They've done what I did in the format of Flint Comics before. They did Wednesday Comics. That was out for 2 or 3 weeks, but they only stuck it out long enough to put it in a larger freaking book. and sell it as a coffee table book when they were selling the equivalent of what I was giving away for free that had ads in it. They were selling the same thing with one ad on the back cover for $4 through the retailers, and they shouldn't have stopped. They should have kept going because they were running big tabloid size. I mean, their stuff was. Let me see, where's that paper? It was the same format as the Flint comics. They were running entire comics that were full page, done by some of the greatest, the best artists that they could find at the time to do work in those books, and it was beautiful. The work done was top notch, and they didn't need to stop it. They could have and should have kept it going, because I know outside of paying those artists, they weren't paying a whole lot to get it printed. And the retailers, and they were selling it probably for $2 to the retailers. The retailers were selling it to the fans for $4. And if they'd have kept going every Wednesday, it would have become a habit. And after a year or so, people would be begging for this stuff, especially if you had quality work in it. And that, just like with Flint Comics, you'd have people calling them if they ever missed a week. Where's the paper? But no, they don't understand the long haul. They don't understand making these comics accessible to a wider audience. Everything goes to the direct comic market on a non-returnable basis, and so that they can put anything in it that they want, which is usually, at the moment, especially, the crappiest crap that they can find with the largest political statement they can find. And they don't care, because it's up to the retailer to sell it. They just throw that whole burden onto the retailer and say thank you. And then the retailers don't give the independents enough of a chance. The real entertainment out there now, the real quality, is obviously sitting in the hands of a lot of these guys' campaigns that are making huge money. At least they're keeping the majority of that money. It's not going to a larger corporation. Maybe they can make their livings off of that, doing it themselves. So it's one of the advantages of crowdfunded books right now.
The tides are changing.
I think it's the same with the films, isn't it? Where they make one film and it's a blockbuster, so they make 15 like it because they want 15 more blockbusters. I mean, George Michael did that when he released Faith in 1987. It sold 25 million copies. So Sony, I think, who were his publishing, wanted another Faith, and the one he gave them was Listen Without Prejudice, which is nothing like it. And they were going crazy, and it only sold 6 million, which was 4 million more than anybody else at the time. But they wanted a 25 million.
But the standard was set by
That's right. So, but it's a good
unfair comparison. For that. But thank you, Randy. This has been great. Thank you for having us on, man. I don't want to cut you off. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Do we need to go? What's up? We still got.
No, it's cool. I just wanted to say thanks while I had a moment.
Not much longer. That's, like I keep saying, this is why I love doing this show, is that we can talk about this stuff. We can show this stuff off, and we can show, especially the folks that are so much younger, that are in comics, that stumble across this program. There are great books out there that you've never heard of. There's phenomenal properties out there that are fun. I mean, actually fun, not people that are sitting around the pizza parlor wondering, how they're going to pay their bills or anything like that. You've got, just classic. Look at down in the lower left-hand corner here. There's Fat Man, the Human Flying Saucer. Right there. Great book, fun book, hard to find. Next to impossible to find, but great stuff. Over in the lower left corner is a Not Brand X, which was back when Marvel actually had a sense of humor and loved picking on themselves because they were number one. And, they were the big book. Between that, up above Fat Man, Human Flying Saucer, there's a cover above the Donald Duck book. There's a cover to an issue of Hembeck, which is Fred Hembeck's work, who used to parody. That's where I learned a lot of comic history from Fred's column that was Dateline with 3 of the symbols that comics used to use for swearing. That was in one of the trade publications. I think it was Comics Buyer's Guide, who talked about all the oddball characters and he'd include a drawing in his style. And he had curly cues for elbows and knees, and he had a particular way of drawing. That's Hembeck there in the Wonder Woman outfit, interviewing Hawkman.
Yeah.
But his column used to be incredible. I mean, was just incredible stuff, and they collected it all together into volumes that are available out there. The Simpsons books they're no longer around, you know. But there's a quality level to them that's unbelievable.
Sure.
When was that Hembeck drawing with the Wonder Woman? When's that?
Probably early 80s. Right. I would think maybe late 70s.
I thought that, but what a great, doesn't it show you? It's very modern because it's a Wonder Woman with a beard.
Yeah, that's just Hembeck dressed as Wonder Woman, though.
I know.
It is the Wonder Woman with the eagle on her chest, as opposed to the double W. Once they figured out they couldn't trademark that eagle. And she needed her own icon, so they switched her over to a double W.
Look at that.
I was going to ask you guys. You're a mystery and space guy, right?
There's Adam Strange, with cover drawn by the great Gil Kane.
That's what
I was going to ask. Who drew it?
Is that Gil Kane?
Hang on. Let me blow that up.
Let me tell you. I think that is Carmine, inked by Al Williamson.
Oh, is that? I don't know.
Not Gil Kane. It's not Gil Kane.
Are you sure? Look at that. Look at how that robot is constructed.
I'm almost sure it's
open
not
that. Open that issue up. You're probably right. You're probably right.
Let's see. Drum roll, please.
That's probably an Adam Strange story written by Gardner Fox and drawn by Carmine and inked by Murphy, the great Murphy Anderson.
All right. So the year 1959, August.
2 months. 2 months before I was born. Anyway.
Where do you want me to look? I mean, that's
it. Probably won't be. The credit won't be on it.
Won't be.
Just move it. Yeah, just move it closer to the camera. Let's take a look.
Not from 59, I don't think.
That sure looks like Infantino and Anderson. Turn a page.
Sure.
1959. That'd be about right.
Looks like a.
Yeah, it's
let's look at the girl's face down there. Yeah, that's definitely Infantino. Oh yeah, that's Infantino. So? Yeah, it might not be inked by Anderson, but it probably is.
It's beautiful though, whatever it is.
It is.
Oh yeah, it's phenomenal stuff.
And you're talking about technology, science fiction tech.
Yeah,
and again, Adam Strange, such a great property done off of those old spaceman tropes, the John Carter of Mars and
right.
That kind of basic, Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, all blended together.
Yep.
That was the first. I was able to talk my parents into allowing me to buy the reprints of that were in Strange Adventures, because I told them it's not a superhero; it's a spaceman in a space outfit. Look at the jetpack. Look at the helmet. You know, that's not a superhero at all. Yeah,
fantastic.
That's definitely brilliant. Carmine. That might be Gosia. Frank.
Frank. I don't. Okay, that's good. I don't know him, but
Frank Giacoya.
I'm
learning.
Yeah. Learning all about it.
What's the issue number on it?
This one is. Good question. August, number 53.
Number 53. Give me just a second. I can tell you.
1959, 53. Issue 53. Wow.
I'll be right back.
Yep.
Wow. You know, Carmine Infantino did exactly what Kirby didn't do. He gave up drawing, didn't he? And went sort of into editorial duties.
Peter Porkchops. See what you missed being in the UK?
Tips on some fun.
Peter Porkchops.
I don't need a pig to tell me what to do in summer. I just eat him.
All right. Oh, man. Prisoner of the Electric Eye. Aren't we all that? We're all prisoner of the electric eye.
Just lift it up a bit more. Wow, look at that. It's fantastic, isn't it? It's just brilliant.
And this is 59. So the guy looks like he's from the 80s.
Yeah.
You know, the drawing. It's crazy.
Wow. Even I was young in 1959.
What year? How old are you? 59?
4.
It's crazy.
I have the Adam Strange Showcase Presents.
Oh, sweet.
And guess what cover they reproduced?
No kidding. Oh, how about that, huh?
No kidding.
How about that? And
no kidding. So that's,
do they have the listing of who?
They do. They have.
All
they have
right.
a credit
I think
list.
I used that cover, that character.
Yeah,
cut
I know
in-
that it looked
in-
really familiar.
In,
Right?
he's in Comics Unlimited 10. Have you got it there, Ted?
Yes, I do.
Just have a flick through it.
give me
I'm
one
sure
sec.
I cut him
Yep,
out. I'm
one
sure I
sec.
did.
Ha ha.
Go
The
on.
cover for Mystery in Space number 59 is credited to Gil Kane,
Oh,
Give
inked
me one
by
second.
Murphy Anderson.
okay.
Okay, hold
Okay.
on.
The interior is
Okay, so I got Comics Unlimited number 10 here.
Carmine
I know I saw it
Infantino,
before. I'm
of
like,
course.
Yeah.
Carmine did the pencil work. Bernard Sachs
Oh,
did
wow.
the ink work on that.
Wow. Fantastic.
that's
Still
awesome.
great stuff. Yeah.
That's
That was,
great. I'm glad that.
that was obviously done before Gil Kane found his style.
No, not because you
I-
see that robot.
I
in
didn't
there.
get any-
That just
I didn't get any
screamed Gil
Kane
Kane to
vibes
me
from
right
that.
off the bat.
trying to
It just
find it
shows
here.
you how
Hold
much
on.
I know.
But hey, how can you argue with here? Take a look at this. How can you argue with Carmine Infantino, inked by Murphy Anderson
I know.
That's so
on there?
good.
Just look at that stuff.
So
It's
just
good.
Beautiful.
the buildings in the background. Just
Yeah, all the backgrounds again.
unbelievable
Yeah.
artwork. Yeah.
Very wordy though, isn't it?
Well, that's Gardner Fox.
Yeah. But he was good.
Pretty sure he's the one that wrote it. Yeah, he
Yeah.
he came from the pulp days, and yeah. But there's
I'm
just
still looking
and
for it,
not
so bear
afraid to
with me.
change that camera angle. Look at that.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
great.
Phenomenal stuff. Just ground eye view shot, mid shot, far away shot. You know, just always moving that camera around. Carmine's just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see it in 10 there, boss.
Okay. Well,
A lot of these guys
I
are
thought it was
phenomenal.
in
That's
there, though. I thought it was, but yeah, I know
That's-
that you used it because I remember seeing it.
Mystery in Space 74 was that where that was from. But
Yeah.
yeah, he had that. It's just a great, again, if you're lucky enough to find these showcase presents
yeah.
at a show, it doesn't matter what the subject matter is. They're thick. You get
That's
2 years
awesome.
worth of material.
That's
and,
really cool. I'm going to check that out because that's
and you just can't go wrong.
those are the ones I like because you don't have to worry about ruining the comic. You know,
Yeah.
There's only one. I've only got one of these, and it's. But
Earth
yeah, look at that.
Secret Space War. Yes.
It's crazy.
Well, that's why the Essentials were so good because not
Yeah.
only did they
Yeah.
show the work in black and white,
Absolutely.
I don't have to touch the actual comics.
So true.
Right.
And like I said, you get 2 years worth of content usually with those books, at least 25 issues.
Yeah.
Right.
You're
I like
frozen.
the,
there you go.
Wow.
That's pretty cool. That's really
Again,
cool.
I think you're looking at a little bit of who's that? Kane again?
Is
might
it
be.
Murphy Anderson again?
Murphy
Space
Anderson inking.
Great. Space.
Might be Murphy doing the whole thing. I don't know.
It's just fantastic, isn't it?
Oh
It
yeah,
is.
just great stuff.
Look at that.
And this is 59. So I mean, this is all it's all about the space travel and everything else. But
Yeah,
and then you've got just the standard free.
yeah. Airmail stamps.
Wow.
And start a hobby for a quarter. There you go. And the
Yeah.
Daisy ad on the back. Don't forget.
Yes. And forgot about that. Sorry.
You'll
Daisy
poke your
Skull.
eye out
Wow.
with that.
$10.
Only $9.99.
$10. Look at how he's holding that gun.
Lose an eye for $10. Poke
Or
holes
he's
in your windows.
He's
for
holding,
$10.
he or she. He.
Side of your
He's-
house. Yeah.
Look how he's holding that
Is
gun.
that a girl? That's a
Yeah.
no. That's a guy.
I thought it was a girl when I first saw it.
Yeah, it looked like she had double ponytails. Huh?
Right? Yeah. Anyway,
That's great. That's been a
that
great.
was
episode,
good. That was a really good happy accident there.
This has been good. I want to thank everybody for watching the Sunday Funnies for the 2nd of October, 2022. It's great to be here. We're really glad that you're here, even if you've put up with us without having to respond to the chat. Hope the chat is full. Hope that chat is filled up. So and looking forward to seeing you again next week for another episode of Sunday Funnies, where we'll talk more about the stuff that we love. Ted, tell folks how they can find you.
Anywhere Ted Davies Artistry is, teddavies.com or teddaviesartistry.com. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify. And we're there. Check us out. We've got a ton of stuff going on the YouTube channel and everything else. So look forward to seeing you guys. If you get on teddaviesartistry.com, shop Ted, has all my artwork, all my books. Be more than happy to show you my universe. So thanks, guys.
There you go. Anytime. Thanks for being here.
Yep.
Glenn, tell folks how they can find you.
You can email me on comicsunlimitedmagazine@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can certainly find me on Amazon, where all my books and magazines are, along with Ted and I's publication, Comics Unlimited. And if you want a copy of this was on Indiegogo in demand, but I've taken it off. So if you want a copy of this, you'll have to get in touch with me. And don't forget, you also get a DVD with it. But you can also find see me drawing on YouTube, and I'm on Instagram occasionally. Usual outlets.
Usual
And you can find me on this show usually on Sundays. And Ted and I do Comics Unlimited podcast on Thursday afternoons on Ted Davis Artistry.
Yep. All right. And folks, I've been your host, Randy Zimmerman. You can find me this Wednesday at the Zimcast, Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. We'll talk more about the comic industry, usually from a more opinionated point of view. On Friday mornings, you can find us at Comics at Night at 5 a.m. here on the Indie Comics Network, talking about the nuts and bolts that it takes to put the sequential art together. And then again, next Sunday, we'll be back here at 9 a.m. for more Sunday Funnies. And I don't have a guest lined up yet, but we'll find somebody. And we'll talk more about the funny book business and the funny books that we love and that put a twinkle in our eye, that help inspire us to keep doing what we love to do. So other than that, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter, but don't look up there. Twitter is a cesspool of hate. There's a link tree out there for Arrow Comics. There are Facebook pages and Instagram pages and all of that. There's a lot more coming from Arrow Comics next year. We're in the planning stages for that now. It's going to be a big year for us. We can't wait to show you what's coming along. It's going to be fun. As soon as I get past this funny book I'm working on now, I have a list. So, and we'll get to that. Spank the Monkey, maybe. Spank the Monkey, maybe. Anniversary for sure is coming. It's going to be a great pile of announcements there. More great stuff from Luke Stone Studios. More stuff coming from all over the place, maybe all over the world. We'll see what happens. And we'll see everybody soon. We want to remind you that you can find a lot of great stuff. Just take an hour, take 2 hours out, go visit your local retailer and dig through those boxes, especially the ones closest to the floor. Mm-hmm. The magazine boxes, those old comic boxes, don't dismiss it because it says, funny books on it or Harvey or whatever. Take a look through, because you'd be amazed at what you find. Such fantastic gems there, and most of which have been sitting there for years, just waiting for you to find them, And if you haven't witnessed great Savage Sword of Conan in black and white, Savage Tales from Marvel, any of the old Warren magazines, eerie, creepy, definitely pick them up. Well worth your time. Well worth looking through your retailer boxes. You're going to have to, he might even run you a deal, depending upon how many that you buy. You can get a great couple days worth of reading out of there from the old days, as they say. So don't be afraid to look at it if it's got a little dust on it. There's also usually a little bit of gold mixed in there. So it's all good. We want you to have a great week. We'll see you next time. Make sure you go out there. If you haven't yet, go to the Indie Comics Network and subscribe and hit that like button, hit that bell for notifications. They've got a wide variety of programming and a lot more coming for a wide variety of subjects. Eventually, if they don't already, they're going to have programming up there that you're going to absolutely love. So, and everything's archived up there. There's back episodes of Sunday Funnies up there. There's some great interviews up there with some great people. We've had a great group of guests over the years, and we welcome you to take a look at that. I think we're not quite a year yet. Well into 6 months here in the Indie at Ragin 2 Indie Comics Network. So there's a lot of stuff there for your listening and viewing pleasure. So we'll see you soon. On our way out the door, we want to remind you of the what do we have there? Oh, not that one. We want to remind you that Meatball doesn't work that way. Not at all. And we hope someday everybody will wise up. So, and of course, hello, Kirby.
It's great.
I don't know why they had that Kirby crackle under his arm, though. Anyway, we wish you well. We're going out the same way we came in with our opening. And one of these days I'll make a closing. Who knows?
See ya.
We'll see you soon. Take care, everybody. Thanks again for watching. See you soon.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.